or ginger ale.
Hey internet friends, welcome to another episode of Your Virtual Basement. I'm joined by my co-host MizzChief, or Sasha, because that's what I call her. She's quite wonderful. It's just gonna be me and you, or her and I and you, whoever's watching at home, from their basement, because it's your virtual basement. We're gonna roll right into this because this is not a interview like our usual Wednesday shows, but this is more of what we usually do, but it's just with two people and no one else, because I'm just gonna be hanging out with Sasha and Sasha's gonna be hanging out with me. It's gonna be torment for her, but it's gonna be very enjoyable for me. But we're gonna roll right into it. We gotta talk about a lot of Pittsburgh topics, but it's not specifically Pittsburgh. It is things that are happening that are general broad topics that just so happens to be they happen in Pittsburgh. I hope we posted on the socials because I want you guys to watch this. But our first thing is movies that happened here. Something in the news recently. Star Seth Rogen, cool dude. I think he produced The Boys. He's shot a ton of stuff here. I think Zach and Miri Make a Porno was shot here. He's done a whole bunch of stuff here. He's a cool dude. But he is looking to, or their movie that they're shooting here, they're looking for extras. So that's a cool thing, cool. Because a lot of actors are from here. Some of them are Jeff Goldblum, he's from here. Zachary Quinto, the guy from what's it called, the horror show. He plays Spock in Star Wars, not Star Wars, Star Trek. That was the Freudian slip. And then the guy that plays Slade at the end of Justice League, I think he's from here.
Wow. I actually, before we started looking into this, I didn't even know that many people were from Pittsburgh that were huge stars. I actually watched the majority of the video that John so graciously provided us, which showed a lot of people who are from Pittsburgh that are huge movie stars that I had no idea about. Thought that was pretty cool.
I think, well, no, I know what's his Christian Bale was here for a little bit to film The Dark Knight, because a lot of the Dark Knight stuff, it was a mixture between here and Chicago. And
right.
So how crazy is this? The guy that used to own Legendary Pictures, the one that made all the Batman movies like Inception and Christopher Nolan stuff, Pacific Rim, Godzilla, anything that Legendary Pictures has made, the guy that made all those or produced them is from Pittsburgh, and he is also a part owner of the Steelers. Well,
wow.
Yeah, so he's like a rich guy. His name's Thomas Tull.
That's cool.
But yeah, what's the closest thing that you've ever been to Hollywood? Any movies? Any cool things that's out in your neck of the woods?
What's been made over here, or what do you mean?
I don't know. Just what's the closest thing that you've ever been? Have you been to a movie set before?
No. I actually, I lifetime goals. I want to be an actress. So, actually the fact that I heard that a lot of there's a lot of stuff to do with the film industry in Pittsburgh. Actually, it made me start looking into that today because it was really interesting. In Philly, where I'm from, there's a lot of people who I guess want to be actors and actresses, and it's a tough market here. And not only that, but there's not much here on top of that. So yes, there's been movies shot in Philly, like the Transformers movie, the Rocky movies, stuff like that. But that's already predetermined, and they get people from other places, and sometimes they need extras, but it's not as I guess as much as how Pittsburgh seems, at least.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a whole bunch of movies that get shot here, even in part, and then I think the zombie genre started here as well with George Romero. But the thing about here, I think it's because why this location is so attractive to Hollywood, because they get massive tax breaks. They can write off and get a lot of their money back. I think it's the most in America. So that's why it's one of the cheapest places to shoot here.
Wow.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I'm not entirely. Don't quote me on it, but that's what I heard.
Okay.
I know Groundhog Day was filmed out in like, I don't know, somewhere. Forget.
Really?
Pennsylvania. Yeah, Groundhog Day was filmed here. Not in Pittsburgh,
sure.
but just a little bit outward. It's just some random town. But yeah, big movie stuff. I think what were they shooting? No, they shot Adventureland here at Kennywood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've actually never been to Pittsburgh, I don't think.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's just like, I mean, it's not that far, but it's just like, but I guess it's me because I've also never been to New York, so it's probably just me. But yeah, it's you guys are like a 4-hour drive, and I just never made it. I don't, unless I did it when I was like really young, but I don't remember ever going to Pittsburgh.
So you're an actress, or you want to be an actress? Sorry.
Want to be. Mm-hmm.
And maybe have you filmed anything?
No, I've done like plays and stuff. So I've done theater, but I haven't done like the film side of it.
You still have done acting if you've done theater.
Yeah, and I've taken classes and looked into like my next step right now is I need to get headshots done, and then I can start going in for auditions.
Okay.
So, like I've done the research, I've started the process. I just need to get the headshots done, and then I can start going to
the people. Yeah. So for people that don't know, I'm actually a film student. I'm not doing anything that I was supposed to do years ago for what I'm doing right now. Yeah, for what I went to school for. We play this game. I remember we talked about this actually, the Star Wars thing. So no one's ever gonna believe me, but there's only one person on this planet that does believe me, and it's an ex-girlfriend. She went to film school with me. And one of the games that we used to play was like kind of like a film game, not really, but it was just kind of discussion topics. So where I went to school was in Florida, and we drove from Florida to Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh back to Florida during the holidays. It's like a 15-hour drive. It was insane.
It's far. Yeah.
So one of the games that we used to play was we would pick a genre or a movie franchise, and we would say how we would make the movie, what would it be about, and who it would star.
Interesting.
So like we would go back and forth like, oh, if you had to make a zombie movie, who would you like pick like to be in it? Who would you have direct it, like produce it, and like where would you like we go in detail how we would shoot or produce that movie. And I hope, if I ever actually had to get to that point, years. This is like even before Star Wars Episode 7 came out. It was the Force Awakens one.
Mm-hmm.
On when we were playing the game, she was like, "Okay, what would you do if you had to make the new Star Wars film?" And I said, "Oh well, I think who's doing really well is J.J. Abrams, the guy that did Star Trek. I would pick him as director. He has like a huge nostalgic factor to him. I'd involve like the original
you got
cast.
Follow.
Ooh, Tom Turbo Dies. Is that what it is? I only see the
Tom
Dies
Turbo
part.
Diesel.
Oh, my.
You wanted to die?
No, my screen was cut off and I can only see Dies. My bad. Thank you for the follow, man. So the story, I told her, and she only knows. I was like, I picked J.J. Abrams. I'd have a female lead, a woman lead, as the main character, and she would be on the search for a legendary warrior, whether or not that be like an old Jedi or like Luke Skywalker. And the Empire is like in disarray, and they're trying to get everything back together. And the bad guy would be like a relative or something to Luke, or like son of or Han Solo and whatnot, and they would want to stop him, and there would be a world-ending machine, and it would be very similar to the Death Star.
Okay.
Yeah, that was years. Years happened. Okay, fast forward like I think So that was in 2000, 2013, no, 2012. No, not 2012. No, I graduated in 2011. Yeah, it was in 2012 because it was
so
the
old.
yeah 2012. That was not that long ago. Yeah, it was. That's 7 years. So, John, if you could look up when the Star Wars Episode 7 announcement happened, fact check me. When J.J. Abrams was announced to direct the film. And then when the film came out, my ex-girlfriend called me and was like, holy shit, you guessed everything right. I even guessed, like, in the car in that moment.
What year did you say you made that guess?
2012.
That was the same year that they announced it on Halloween.
Yes. Yes. That was even before the J.J. Abrams announcement. It just said they were going to go make it, right?
Correct. There was no other announcement that year other than we're doing this.
So, when she calls me up when she goes sees Force Awakens, because we were still like kind of like talking as friends at the time, and she was like, "Holy shit, you guessed all of it." I even guessed Han Solo dying.
Spoilers, man.
It's been years, okay? You better have seen the movie. You probably don't even watch Star Wars, right? We've talked about this, right?
We've talked about those.
Yeah. But I guessed everything. So, my question to you, moving on, is as an actress, you could craft your own movie with infinite budget, and then you can put all the stars around you and you can pick your director and the genre or franchise. What would that be?
It's a really tough question. I haven't really thought about like all of it because I obviously want to be in it, so I haven't really thought about like making my own. But somebody who I would love to like co-star with would be like Jennifer Lawrence. I love her. Or Anne Hathaway. I love both of them. Jim Carrey's another one. I like. These are all people that like I idolize. So like, I would love to work with any of these people because I think they're just like amazing actors and actresses.
Wait, so Jim Carrey, Jennifer Lawrence, and who?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway? Okay.
They're all
Who do you
like
pick
kind of
to direct or produce?
No
I don't know.
idea. I guess I
Is that a
should say
romance movie?
no. It wouldn't be. I don't know. It would be like okay. So I love like Tim Burton movies. So like I would want like Tim Burton to be a part of it or something like that. So that means like I have to like obviously you have to have his cast too, which always comes with like Helena Bonham and
Johnny
oh my
Depp.
gosh. Yes, Johnny Depp. I'm like, why can't I say his name? Yeah. So like it would be like a really weird movie, but I that's the whole purpose of it. It'd be like random actors and actresses, and it'd be like a really weird movie because that's the kind of movies that Tim Burton usually produces anyway. So I think it would be like a ton of fun.
You're gonna be in an edgy, suspenseful, murderous movie
With comedy, yes.
with comedy. Okay. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I would want to make either two things, and I would want to be a supporting character in one, or a main character in the other. I'll go in these two different details. I want to make the Gundam Wing movie. Do you not know what Gundam is?
No.
The big robots. Like
Okay.
where kids like pilot them, like the anime.
I didn't.
You've never seen Gundam?
I'm
You don't
new
know
to
what
anime.
Gundam is? Just look up Gundam. Gundam is amazing.
I'm new to anime.
You know, the big Japanese robots. And the other one that I would want to see made,
Oh.
but I don't want to be like a actor in it, or I just want to be a supporting character, like just a cameo. But what I would want to
Okay.
make is Halo.
Okay, I know what Halo is.
Well, welcome KSJ back to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. For Gundam, I would just pick like a whole bunch of no-name actors and then a whole bunch of famous supporting characters. And then
Okay.
I don't have like a specific person that I would want in it.
You don't have
Maybe
somebody
like
that you would specifically want to work with, like yourself?
If I had to make another movie, a third movie, I want to make the Star Wars: The Old Republic movie.
No, like, okay. I want you to tell me if there's like, you're not making this movie. I just want to know who you, Rob, want to, like, if you had like a movie that was coming out and you got to choose your co-star in just this random movie with no specifics, who would you want?
Christian
Like,
Bale
who
and
is
Natalie Dormer.
Those are your two top picks.
Top picks. Those two.
Okay.
I think Christian Bale is the best actor of all time.
He's really good.
I think he can make anything work.
Okay.
Any movie that he's in, no matter how bad it is, he can make it okay and watchable and enjoyable. He will automatically get you a B rating in a movie. Or an Oscar. It's that big of a range. It's an enjoyable B-rated movie and an Oscar. There is no Christian Bale movie that's bad. Have you noticed that? Not even Reign of Fire is bad.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's not a single.
Really quick, we have Circadia gifting a tier 1 sub.
Circadia, thank you for the sub, and he also gifted a sub to the damn bot.
That's so funny. The bot is subbed.
Thank you, Circadia, man. Dan, you're the best, man. It means a lot.
Oh gosh.
But I would.
Leo said.
What was that?
Don't even.
Oh yeah. So Natalie Dormer is another one because she is my hall pass with anyone that I ever would have a significant other. I make it very clear at the beginning. It's usually the first two sentences out. Natalie Dormer. Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
So the reason why I like her so much, if you notice, when I was growing up, I had a lot of OCD, and not OCD as in the actual. Just OCD tendencies, I guess, a little bit, and perfectionism. And I was really, I would have kind of like this really hissy fit. Like even when it came to my toys, if like a toy is broken, I'd kind of toss the toy aside. Symmetry was a big deal to me. And growing up, I always thought that symmetry was beauty. Okay, and not only is she beautiful, but I grew up, and she well, for me, when I was growing up, I have like I can click my jaw in and out. It's weird, like this weird TMJ thing. It's on my right side, and I can dislocate it and put it back in. It's super weird. My jaw grew to be like kind of lopsided, like kind of like a weird smirk. That's why I always turn in my photos if I don't look like straight into the camera. I grew up having that. I'm like, fuck, I hate myself and I don't like it, and it got to my head growing up. I read this article about Natalie Dormer, and her publicist told her stop making the smirk in all her images. So if you bring up images of like Google images of her, she always has like this weird smirk that people would like look at, but they would actually relate that to her when you talk about it, because she looks very cute. And the publicist told her to stop making the smirk, and she was like, I can't, because I have a cleft jawline or something, and that's why she smiles like that. I was like, holy shit, I do too. And I've always just related to that because symmetry it was a big obstacle for me to get over that. Symmetry wasn't a big deal, and that one of the most beautiful people on the planet has a cleft jaw.
Nice.
And on top of that, do you remember the whole deep fakes thing that happened? No. So deepfakes is a technology that would analyze a whole bunch of photos, and you can mask the photos to be put on someone else's face to become them. So if you look at deepfakes, right? Okay, thanks, John, for putting the image. So the deepfakes, So the first thing when deepfakes came out, obviously people would make porn videos. They would take celebrities, right? Because they have a whole bunch of images and put their face onto porn stars to have like fake pornos of celebrities. The number one person that the internet made and had the most fucking views was Natalie Dormer.
Rob, the amount of information you know about this woman is a little disturbing.
Yeah, it's because I want to work with her one day.
Yeah, that's definitely the reason.
Let's go with that. If she ever somehow watches a video of this, I swear I'm not weird.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
Quickly, do you think Pittsburgh is like the Hollywood of East Coast? Would you like say that, or do you think that?
No, is New York?
Oh, New York is a good one. See, I don't really know. I was thinking about this, and I'm not really sure because I don't really pay attention to like where movies are shot. I mean, like I do and I don't know per se. Like that's not something I go and like Google after I watch a movie. But I know that a lot of movies are shot in New York, and I didn't know that there was a ton of movies shot in Pittsburgh. So the fact that people call it that was like really interesting to me.
I think it's a wannabe kind of thing. I would definitely love for it to be more than that, but as of right now, I think it's just a hometown feeling of wanting their city to be that. Not hating on the place that I came from.
Gotcha. And then, what popular movie was filmed in Pittsburgh that you love?
I think The Dark Knight. Yeah, I don't think
That's
there's
fine.
another movie than that. I that's the best movie that there is. I think
It's so good.
the bridge from where I used to live to going to work, that's where Christian Bale crashes the Lamborghini in the movie, I think. Like under this bridge thing that they got going on.
That's really cool.
I don't know if John can like pull that up while we're talking.
I would
yeah,
choose the same movie.
Okay, yeah, it's the best
Dark Knight
one.
Rises. Yeah, it was so good.
Mine's Dark Knight.
Oh, mine's Dark Knight Rises. Sorry.
Okay.
Wait. Yes, the one with Bane.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. I like the
So
second.
you're talking the okay.
The better of all three.
No.
Yes.
No.
The third one is so flawed in everything, in all
Oh my
aspects of it.
gosh. No.
Okay, let's move on. So there was a hate crime threat that was
Right.
made yesterday. Can't remember the
Yeah,
exact.
yesterday.
It was yesterday. Some kid tweeted out that he was going to commit a hate crime in a hospital.
Not a specific hospital, just a hospital in Pittsburgh.
I think so. And then people got really, worried about that, and they called it in. I don't think that there was an arrest or anything, but there was no real conclusion to it. But they did find the people, his parents, and then him, and then they were questioned. I don't know what's going to happen to the kid. Obviously, that there's going to be some form of consequence to it. He had actually no intention of making the hate crime, but it goes to our topic about it. People that just post random shit on social media. How do you deal with that? Because that's such an easy thing. It's an easy thing to hide behind a computer screen.
Right.
Make these claims.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're like so tough behind, like, sitting at their computer, talking to people. Like, everybody, this is my thing. Like, there's so many internet bullies out there. It's disgusting. And there's so many people who think that they can get away with whatever they want to say because of like freedom of speech and stuff like that. So like, I don't really think there's like a fix to this because you can't like regulate the internet to, deny people of being able to say certain things. But like, I think it's just like nowadays, like that's unfortunately like how our world is and how our youth is, and that's how they like people think. It's just that like there's so much negativity in the world now that like people just feel like it's okay to be able to like make threats and stuff like that, and just kind of like, I don't know, think it's okay. I don't know. People just think it's okay, and I just don't get it. I don't know why there's so many like people who just like to bully people out there.
I think that's what we're used to because we have a lot of freedoms. There's a quote that I even said on the show earlier that, you know, just because everyone has the, you know, ability to speak or able to use a mic, that doesn't mean that they have earned it. I think Aaron
Right.
Sorkin said that. We're used to that in our country. So did you know in Korea, to make any, I think it's social media account too, I can't remember, but to make a gaming account, like a League of Legends account or an Overwatch account, you need a social security number attached to it.
Wow, that's crazy. I did not know
So
that.
you can't make a second account. It's illegal.
Wow.
They take your online identity very seriously. So you can't just like make a fake account and just like post dumb shit and spread misinformation. You're attached to it. That's why if you ever cheat in video games in Korea, you can be put in jail.
Wow.
And
But that's
I
Korea,
think,
right? Because there's so many.
yeah,
like,
that's Korea.
Okay. 'Cause I know that there's like a like one of the biggest problems is that there's a lot of I don't want to say this like and be like completely misinformed, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people that come like who cheat in China because it's allowed.
Yeah, so
the-
when I went over there to boot camp with Immortals and LGD Gaming for League of Legends, when you go into the PC cafe, the League of Legends games that you have on there, they are all loaded with scripts. It's normal for everyone to cheat
Wow.
in the cafes. You hold one button and you
Wow.
run around in the game, and it just cheats for you. It just clicks and auto attacks for you, and then it has like circles around your character to know like if you're in danger or not. And
Where is
then
this?
it's in China.
Oh wow.
When I was in China, that's what it was. And then above like the champion's head, it would show the enemy's abilities and also their cooldowns and whatnot. So you know, yeah, it would just cheat for you, but it's normal.
That's crazy. And like the reason why I brought it up was because I have a friend who lives in Korea right now, and he plays on Korean server or like on the server that they put him on, and it's actually for Apex. And he would get so frustrated because he's like, there's so many people from China who are cheating, and like I can't play because they're all using aimbots, they're all, you know, using wall hacks and stuff like that. He's like, there's nothing I can do. So he would like wait for me to get on and or like go join American servers so that way he could play like fairly. It's so sad.
It's normal for most like games to, you know, to have cheaters in China.
That's crazy.
Not saying that it's acceptable over there by any means. It's not. It's just the ability is there and it's easy to do. But I do know there was a like COG went over to Korea to try to practice and boot camp, and the players there got banned from Korea because they borrowed accounts that were not theirs and they didn't go through the proper process of contacting the developer and getting high level accounts so they can start boot camping over there. So they were just playing on borrowed accounts essentially. So the only way to get another account in Korea is like if you borrowed your like mom or dad's social security to play on their account.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
crazy.
it's a serious offense. I think you know what I do think? I do think that there needs to be less anonymity on the internet because there's just so much spread of misinformation now these days that it's incredibly toxic for one, but also it kind of like sets back our generation, right? Like you have the whole what's it called? The whole vaccine stuff, the whole like propaganda even for like the presidency, things like that, where like Russia can spy a whole bunch of users and essentially change like the election. That's like the assumption.
Yeah.
What do you think about America doing, or like right now what we're doing, or America to do something like Korea, where you are tailored to like if you have a social media account, it's tailored to your actual identity.
I think because of the way America is and have always been, we're like the land of the free, it would cause like lots and lots and lots of like riots and chaos and people fighting it, and nobody would be happy. But I think it's a good idea to start with. Maybe not something that we implement exactly, but something similar where, people are kind of like watched a little more closely. Like I know people, like obviously we're watched on the internet, what, things you search, throw up red flags if you search certain things. But yeah, like kids, I think it's not even kids, it's like people in general. Let's just say people in general. I think that if we did that, people or did something like that, because people in general are just like, not everybody's good. Let's just say there's a couple bad apples out there. And if we were to regulate the internet a little bit more and kind of made it so that way you are personally responsible for the things that happen while you're online, like I feel like it would cause a lot less problems that arise from the people being anonymous on the internet. Jesus, I can't speak.
I used to work for this work with this really smart guy. His name is John Stein. He used to be a VP product of Immortals, and he also did he also used to work for Riot. Okay. And he had suggested this idea. I'm not taking credit for it, I'm not stealing it, but he suggested this idea that there would be a Twitter or even a Facebook, not essentially taking everyone's right away, but develop a platform that you're accountable for, kind of like LinkedIn, but like a Twitter or a Facebook that you had to register your social security to obtain an account, and therefore whatever that's posted on there is the most credible source that you could have. So when you speak, you can't speak out of like anonymity, essentially.
Okay.
It would just be you would feel popularity to the platform.
The only downside to that is, so Korea is more like, it's not like a dictatorship, but it's like that's kind of what they, live under in a sense.
It's Korea is a late stage capitalistic company where the big conglomerate companies kind of run the country, because the big guys like Telecom Network, CJ, and Samsung, all those guys are like the big massive corporations that kind of run it. And then if they need anything, they pretty much like pay off politicians to make sure that it still stays as a democracy, but they influence a lot of the politicians.
Right.
And the politicians would break them up, but they pay a lot of money to the politicians not to. So it's like America like 50 years into the future.
Okay. Well
10 years into the future.
Okay. Well, anyway, so because they're like that, and that's kind of how they've been like running or whatever for like forever, or not forever, but for a long time. We're not like that. We're very like everything's kind of like almost like free. Like you have your freedom. The problem with trying to tie your social security number to a lot of things is that here in the United States, people sell social security numbers and steal social security numbers and X, Y, and Z. I'm sure in Korea it's probably a lot harder because of the fact that like they started you like from the beginning with that, like where when you're born, this is like your this is your ID number, like don't let nothing happen to it or whatever.
That's kind of how it is right now. You can't steal somebody's identity here. It's illegal.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm sure it's a lot harder over there because of how regulated it is, whereas here you have people stealing baby social security numbers all the time and racking up tons of debt in somebody's name, and they have no idea because they're a child. And you like have people who just sign up for cable and some random social security number. So it's like or like just anything. They don't like, there's so many people who either don't use their own social security number or use others, or like you fake ones or whatever. You never know whose social security number it is. So like I don't think it's something that we could definitely like work with in a sense, even though like I have, you have your own social security number, you never know who else has it.
Moving back to this hate crime and this kid, what would you do to this kid? Like, what is the proper punishment? Like, this guy has to obviously be punished, right? Because he's
right.
You need to make him an example, right? In a way. It's not the first time that this has ever happened, but it's a serious thing because everyone pointed it out. You make like an empty threat, but it's still a threat. What do you do?
Well, first of all, so like he made a threat on Twitter saying that he was going to create a hate crime in a like on a specific day at a specific time to a hospital that wasn't specific, just in a a very specific area of Pittsburgh. So they traced it back and were able to find this kid or whatever. So they're not pressing charges right now because they're still looking into it, and he's not arrested or anything like that. But for him specifically, like with this situation, I would say that he needs counseling, like he needs to go to a doctor and needs to get talked to and see if he has like tendencies to want to cause harm to others. And if he does, he needs to be helped, not just put in jail. Because if you put somebody with tendencies to hurt others in like jail, it's not going to fix them, it's just going to make it worse. So you need to like help them. And I'm not saying just like go and give them drugs or anything like that. I'm saying like he actually needs to they need to figure out what's causing him to think this way or feel this way and figure out a way to like fix it. If that makes sense.
I actually disagree with you on this one. Not because I don't think that this, outside looking in, I don't know this person, but if I had to do this myself, hypothetically, we go down the rabbit hole, I do this, all right? And I'm trying to run through the scenario. Going to a doctor doesn't really help me. I think it was kind of, I'm going to post this and just not think about it. Because I think there's an education process of how you should take social media, right? Like, I just say someone's a dickhead and have no consequences, but it has a consequence because someone out there is really hurt by you calling them a dickhead. I think there needs to be some form of level of higher education when it comes to social media, and we take things a lot more seriously instead of just saying their words on the internet, right? I even have the experience about this too. Like a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend writes poorly about you and all your friends see it, or like workmates see it. The internet's forever in a lot of cases almost, or a lifetime, in fact. And people don't understand of how the consequences of having it being permanent and being attached to you, and how much it has a negative effect on you. Because the human body and the human mind has a tendency to have like self-repair, to be able to get over traumatic or whatever experiences. That's the whole point of like being human. But with the introduction of the internet and online social media, you're able to like not have that. You're not able to heal. But like saying, boom, I'm gonna do this, yeah, you better for sure have fucking consequences. I think it should be made an example of, but I don't think like going to doctor for mental health, because I don't think that's necessarily something bad, like something is wrong with them. I think it's being misinformed and that like having ignorance. I don't think that's a doctor thing, like, oh, he's mentally unstable, therefore. I don't think that's a mentally unstable kind of comment. I think it's more of like, good.
I was just gonna say, how is he misinformed if he's making a threat? Like, how is that being misinformed?
Misinformed by being how much weight him posting on social media carries.
Oh. So Tom Turbo Diesel said they need to press charges so he will learn the consequences of his actions. I said, I guess that may be fair, but that would go more like towards the parents, more so than the kid. So like if they charge a fine or something like that, it would be on the parents, not the kid. So like when you say press charges, like how would you make this kid feel personally responsible unless you sent him to like juvie or something like that, where he got to like get like kind of a life lesson or gets scared out of it or something like that, like something that teaches him, you messed up, you need to fix this, and your parents aren't the ones who are going to be at fault.
Okay. I think I even did something really stupid when I was young, and they gave me community service, like helping other people. I think it was a mixture of that and just trying to be a good person and doing things that you're forced to be a good, but it also like feels good. Maybe that's like something. I think like a massive amount of community service, so that way it's like it takes a lot of time from them, and it's like, damn, I don't want to do this again. That was really stupid. I think something like that over like you're like, instead of a doctor pointing at you like you're broken, you know what I mean?
Well,
That's
no, see,
I feel like that doesn't help.
That's not really what I wanted to like imply. Like I just wanted somebody to like talk to this kid and make sure that he doesn't have like the tendencies to want to actually harm someone. Like I don't want him to just sit there and just like, you know, them tell him what it is he needs to say or needs to do or whatever. It's more so like a one-on-one conversation where it's like what brought this out? Like what made you want to say this? Like, you know, getting down to the roots of it, because you never know, he could be a part of like some, you know, there's all those, I watch a lot of like NCIS and, you know, law shows, but there's like sometimes it's tailored to something else where like you never know, he's a part of like some type of online community or something like that that talks about harming others or something. Like you need to figure that out before it gets out of hand. Just because he made like a threat, I feel like the threat wasn't to be funny, like you know, or whatever. It was obviously like a call for attention in a sense, and we need to figure out why he needed that attention, why he felt the need to say that. So that's why I said bring a doctor into it, because they're trained in that kind of thing. It's not just to be like, that's why I said don't just be like, here, you need medication because you're, you know, broken. It's not like that. It's more so just to figure out what it is, rather than you know, like trying to just throw him away in a sense.
I think this is equivalent of like a kid calling in a bomb threat at school, isn't it?
I don't think normal kids do that.
I mean, like, I think isn't that a normal thing?
So I'm chiming in here. Hi guys, it's John.
Hi.
It's your boy. Look, when 9/11 happened, because I know I'm older than you guys. I was in middle school when that happened, and almost once a week, as soon as 9/11 happened, there was a bomb threat, and like a lot of schools across the country, and I missed days of class and being forced home because people were worried something was gonna happen. And you know, with somebody going online right now and making a post like that is pretty much the equivalent thing. Like if you go to the bathroom that has a dated timestamp back then, because we didn't have Twitter or anything, school would take that seriously, and so would the local police. And you know, whatever I don't know if any kids were found out or if they were punished, but like the problem is that no matter what era you live in, something big happens, somebody wants to cause a stir in something, like they're gonna do it. Like this isn't just because, you know, we have a nation that is in, again, grips of fear of a, you know, at this point a weekly mass shooting happening. But yeah, the same thing was happening almost 20 years ago over something different.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just because we live in a state of fear at all times.
How do we stop this?
Bless you. The answer is not a very simple answer, because, you know, fear derives from all different types of places, and we're always going to be fearful of something. But the current issue that we're like, you know, involved with right now, like, is the massive shootings, and that would come into gun control, which we really shouldn't talk about, but like that would be kind of a way to quote unquote fix our current situation. But that doesn't mean it's going to stop future situations, because then, you know, they can always evolve. It doesn't always have to be guns.
Okay. That's fair. I want to move. Let's move on to something much more wholesome and better, I guess, than this negative story, because it gets me really sad.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
here's a challenge that is going in our city, but this can pertain to everybody else. The challenge is for employees to do a vegan diet for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a vegan?
I am not.
Would you be able to do this?
Yeah, I think I would.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think
I
would
could-
have a
I could
problem
never
with
do it.
Okay, so I've always I'm like a huge animal lover. Like I love animals and am very big on like I wanted to be a vet tech or veterinarian at first, and then I wanted to be a vet tech, but just the thought of hurt animals always makes me sad. I'm like a big mush. So when I was younger, I was the same, and I actually, certain foods would make me not want to eat it because of the type of animal it comes from, and I'm still like that. So when I was younger, I actually considered going vegan, and it was funny though, because at that time I was like super obsessed with like meatballs, and that honestly is the only reason why I didn't become vegan, was because like I was like, I want to be vegan because I'm tired of like I don't want to kill animals for food and stuff like that, and I was like, but I can't get rid of meatballs, and so I didn't become vegan for that reason. But I think it would be an easy transition for me, because I am very particular about the type of meats I eat already, so I don't think it would be hard for me to just be like, dropping certain things.
Well, one, I don't think my body or whatnot is kind of like the average person in America, so I don't have the whole overweight issue. I always just grew up with a fast metabolism, so I don't have that. I wouldn't be able to do it just because I want to be able to build. I knew that like almost 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it's like in the 120 pounds, whatnot.
Okay.
Since then, now I'm 150, and I still feel really small.
Okay.
So,
I definitely
I
get
don't-
the feel or understand that I have a very fast metabolism, and it is like impossible to gain weight for me.
Yeah.
And people always are like, "Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. I wish I was like that." But they don't see it from like my point of view. Like I've always wanted to be average, at least average weight. I'm not average weight for like my age or whatever. I'm average weight for my build and my size. Or like whatever, I don't even know what that means, but it's like basically I've grown at the same rate all of my life, so I'm normal for that. But I want to be like average weight, average size. So like when I say that, people are like, no, you don't want to change, like you want to be that size. And it's like, no, like I know I want to be bigger, like I want to be a certain weight that I'm not, and it's really hard for me to get there. And people are like, well, it's really hard for us to lose weight, but they don't understand that it's like really hard for me to gain weight. So like I get that, and I get what you mean.
Do you think it's equivalent of someone that is in the opposite position for you to be able to lose weight, that is equally as harder for you to gain weight? Because we have fast metabolisms? I mean, like that might be a little bit self-centered, but do you think that might be true?
No, well, some people do easily gain weight like without even trying. So there are some people that I would say yes, but my overall answer would be no, because I've tried, countless things to gain weight, and it is really hard. Whereas there's so many things out there for people to lose weight, not to gain. So there's so many options for, working out, changing your diet. There's supplements and all types of things you can take to lose weight, but it's not as easy to gain weight. And like the stuff that is really out there for gaining weight is for people who want to like build muscle and be like muscle builders and stuff like that too.
So the vegan diet doesn't have meat in it. I think maybe I could do it for a week, but I couldn't
7
be able to
days.
do it for a lifestyle. No, I'd be able to do it, not the lifestyle though.
Well, you say that now, but I actually know people who were able to easily switch over into being a vegan, who have eaten meat all of their life, and like are, constant people who have always eaten meat and stuff like that. So like it's not as hard as it seems, and apparently you feel a lot better when you do switch over to like a vegan diet compared to like your unhealthy diet that you
Really?
have now. Because it's like it cleans out your system. It makes you like you get more energy. You feel like lighter, and I've heard so many good things about people who switch to being a vegan compared to like when they used to eat meat.
What do you think about intermittent fasting?
Not something I've ever done, so.
So it's for people that are on the heavier set, but like think about it like this. There are like people out there, like even especially like northern European countries like Vikings, right? Like back in the day. They didn't like these people didn't eat 3 meals a day. That's actually not normal. So intermittent fasting is supposed to be a similar a similar type of eating to like olden days of like people being able to like lose weight but also maintaining being fit. But yeah, like I you know, I don't know. I don't have that issue. I don't have that issue with gaining weight. I mean, losing weight, I mean.
Oh, see, like, okay, so for the intermittent fasting thing, I feel like, so I have a really small stomach, and that's like another reason why I don't gain weight. Like, I have a really small stomach, and I really and I like have the fast metabolism or whatever. So I go tons and tons and tons of days with eating 1 meal a day. I just like, I don't have the appetite to be able to eat 3 meals a day, or even like I'll eat 1 big meal and then I'll snack a lot or something like that. But I don't typically eat more than 2 meals like ever. It's so rare if I eat 3 meals a day. And that's just kind of like how life is for me. So like I do all of my it's really funny because I'm like super thin and like I'm very, very petite, and nobody in my family is like that. Everybody in my family is either slightly above average or actually overweight, and they all struggle with losing weight, which is insane because, you know, I'm like, where did I come from? But so I see like my best friend, she's also overweight. Like everybody that I know is overweight, and like I feel like everybody in America is now technically kind of like overweight or whatever compared to like where they should be or something like that. But I know how hard it is to lose weight. I've seen it all my life from all the people I've grown up with, around, things like that. So I just like, I know how hard it is to lose weight. So I can't be like, oh, it's, you know, something easy to do. But I've seen people try the fasting, and I've seen people, you know, work out constantly and do all these different things and stuff like that. So it's like, it's a struggle. But at the end, I feel like people like in my predicament where I try to gain weight, it takes me a lot longer to see results than people who are trying to lose weight.
Okay. That's fair. I definitely want to get jacked, but I also did some calculations I would think even for both of us to like get owned and also gain like at least 50 to 75% of like a muscle mass to our bodies. I know that you're on a more petite side, and same with me for being a male. Well, like average male, average. It said something. I did the calculation. I put it in a little equation thing, and it said that I had to eat 3,000 calories a day.
Wow. That's
to just get to the point where I wanted to be, and I wouldn't be able to do that unless I ate 3.5 full like steak potatoes like meals a day, which is hella expensive, insane. But what can you do? But yeah,
I was just gonna say really quick. So KSJ in chat actually said, I eat like 4 meals a day, pretty decent size, but I barely gain weight. And that's another thing. Like I've also heard that when you're like on the thinner side, or you know, when you have issues with gaining weight, it doesn't really matter like how many times you eat. It comes back to like what you said, like your calorie count, and even then that's really tough to try to like get to. So for you to eat 3,000 calories in a day, that's like a shake. Like you would have to like buy like some type of shake or something like that to help you get those calories, because you trying to physically eat all those calories in one day is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're
10,000.
getting close to the time, but I want to end off on a shower thought, because that's how we usually end it off here. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to end it off in a shower thought. We're going to do a shower thought, and then I'm going to change it up a little bit, because this is how we started the other podcast or the other show. We opened up with a wholesome story. I'm gonna read off a wholesome story at the end, but I like this one. There's a couple on here that I really like. What is a disgusting food that everyone loves? I guess to you, what is a disgusting food? And also, that's the chat too. I know that I have engaged with you guys in a little bit, because I was really, really focusing on our conversation.
Shower thought, guys, not
thought.
that.
Thought.
So one thing
Fries,
that I think
hot
is...
dogs. Oh, hot dogs. That's what lovable Big Daddy Jordan said.
One of the things that like I think a lot of people like that I just can't see is mushrooms. I can't be on the same page as that. I just can't stand mushrooms at all. And it goes back to actually our conversation, what was it, yesterday or not yesterday, day before yesterday, where poison, or you talking about like saying that you're allergic to peanut butter, like in our wholesome story, when you're not, or peanuts when you're not. I actually tell people we're allergic to mushrooms, because I just like, I feel ill when I eat mushrooms, so I just tell people I'm allergic to them, so that way I don't have to deal with it.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
I can see why mushrooms, because it's a fungus and people don't like the idea of that.
It's gross.
Wow. I don't have too much that I wouldn't eat. Actually, I think I would devour most of it. But here's a thing that I, maybe not disgusting, but my mom makes like a lot of Asian dishes. Most of those Asian dishes have bean sprout.
Okay.
I looked up bean sprouts and what they can do. They're a waste. They're just texture for whatever she makes. They don't do anything for you. It's just water.
Yeah, they're gross.
It's like drinking the broth. So it doesn't do anything. So I don't like bean sprouts. Not that I wouldn't eat it. It's just it doesn't do anything for me except for the stupid texture when I'm trying to eat soup. Tom Turbo Diesel says anything with cheese on it, so he doesn't like cheese, or he or she doesn't.
Okay.
But I'm gonna
So he doesn't like sliced cheese, is what it is. Like when you go get lunch meat and stuff like that cut, he doesn't like sliced cheese. He likes cheese. Just ignore him.
Sliced cheese.
Wait, is that the guy?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sandwich cheese. Yes. He doesn't like sliced cheese. So he'll eat cheese pizza, he eats cheese steaks, he eats, like when I go get my Annie Ann's pretzels and I get a side of cheese, he'll eat the cheese. When we go to the movies and I get like pretzels or nacho cheese or whatever, like he'll eat that cheese. He just doesn't like sliced cheese.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
He's a weirdo. Yeah, he's a weirdo.
That is weird. KSJ says McDonald's accept the fries and milkshakes. I actually like McDonald's. I can devour anything.
I can back up KSJ. I used to love McDonald's, and then like as of can't stand their food. I can still do their fries, and I can still do like their milkshakes and stuff like that, but their food in general, like their sandwiches, I just can't. I don't know. I just don't like them. But I've also kind of been on that like part. I guess I'm at a point in my life where I don't really like fast food. Like I can't. I used to love fast food. I eat it all the time, and now I'd rather have cooked meals. I'm just so tired of fast food. I don't want anything really fast. Like the only fast food I eat now is like Five Guys, which is like expensive and probably not that good for you. But that, and like sometimes I'll have like Moe's and stuff like that. But like McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, like all those big name places, I don't really eat at. I eat Taco Bell still though, but I just will never learn my lesson.
Okay. Growing up, I'm sure this is an obvious answer. Did you, when you were growing up, did your taste buds change?
Absolutely.
I used to not like tomatoes. Like I just couldn't. That was the thing that I found disgusting. I just the texture of it, couldn't do it. Then I'm pretty much eat anything now these days. I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't eat in terms of like edible food. Is there something that you thought that was disgusting as a younger child? Maybe you still do.
Yeah, lettuce.
What?
Okay,
that's the most basic. Yeah, that's the most basic veggie. Like that's the first thing that you eat that to accept lettuce. Do you not like lettuce now?
Okay, so everybody judges me for this.
Wait, answer that one. Can you eat lettuce now?
I'm
gonna assume that's a no.
I cannot eat iceberg lettuce specifically.
That's the fucking easiest.
It is the grossest thing in the entire world. It is so nasty. I can eat romaine lettuce now, but back like when I was younger, so okay, it's weird because I could eat lettuce in like McDonald's sandwiches that came with lettuce and stuff like that. Like I would eat it when I was like little, and then I got into my teenage years and I just stopped. Like I hated it with a passion. I would not eat any lettuce. It didn't matter what kind. And it wasn't until like maybe 2 years ago that I started eating romaine lettuce again. But like iceberg lettuce, I literally will like vomit. It's disgusting.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
everybody judges me for that.
I am judging you now. I'm gonna end the show off because we're a little bit over time. I'm trying to get into the hour perfect window because I love these engaging conversations, especially with everyone in the chat and whoever tuned in, because it's a very interactive thing, an interactive show.
We love chat.
Jess says, so my boyfriend comes home last night, absolutely smashed, gets undressed, and then just stands there in my room. So I'm like, are you coming to bed? And he goes, no, thank you. I'm sure you're lovely, but I have a girlfriend, and goes to sleep on the floor.
Aww.
That's the wholesome story that we're going to end off with. But yeah, thank you for everyone for coming by the chat, stopping by the stream, supporting us, especially Circadia with the sub. Thank you, Dan. I'll see you tomorrow. I think he's coming over to the basement and we watch some movies or something like boys night out. But yeah, thank you, Sasha, for being my co-host today. I know that was very difficult because it's only the two of us, but I actually thought this actually ran pretty smooth. Thank you, John, for being there and also being a TD, because you do all the work and I don't. We just show up for an hour and talk about dumb shit. And I'm a moron. I'm not educated in all this. This is why we talk about things. We talk through the obstacles of life on this show. But thank you. And good night, everybody!
You didn't plug anything.